Okay, hi. This is a kind of nice title for the talk, but it's much less fancier. It's or deploy bot. In fact, yeah. Uh, Hi. Uh, in fact, this bot is kind of a hack, but we'll see. 5 years ago, we started the company, Say Super, and from the beginning, it was a supermarket to rule them all. So, nice. And we decided to automate everything. We decided to automate as much as we can. Because when we started, we knew we would have a lot of pieces going around, a lot of boxes. And at that time, everybody was talking about automation. That's the truth. So we started the project like only two of us. I was working kind of at full time, and another guy was helping me in weekends. So we don't have many time to do things, to remember how to install things. And we did fail in the past, so we already knew that was a great way into the fail, not to automate. So we started automating how we create virtual machines. We were using OpenVC. Now we are using LXC, but at the end it's the same, like soft virtualization. So we started using Puppet, like really old version of Puppet. It was a complete mess. It was horrible. Well, for me, I never understood why someone took Ruby code that looks beautiful and he makes something that looks horrible with it. It's like DSL to broke Ruby. I don't know. And it was really hard to do things, and it was really hard to do things with Perl because there were not many people using Perl. So if you were using Ruby, it was easy to use Puppet because there was a lot of recipes for Ruby, but not for Perl. So, well, we use it. Now we use Ansible, and how we do deploy our applications. Because okay, now we have virtual machines. Now we need to deploy our applications, and there is where we understood the problem, because we tried it with Puppet, and yeah, we kind of, well, it was possible using operating system packages, but we wanted to use Perl for deploy. We wanted to cook all our Perls. So it was really hard because everything was running with sudo, and well, it was really weird we have to write a lot of bash into Ruby to deploy something without any control. It was really mess. So we discovered some small project that's called Rex. Yay, thanks to that guy. And well, since Rex is a Perl project, it was really easy to deploy Perl project with Rex. So we started using it, but we didn't replace all we already had with Puppet because we didn't have time for this. We need to create our company. So we added to our stack. So we start using Rex for deploy or Perl applications. Rex for me is kind of similar to Ansible in some way. It's nice. And you write Perl, so for me it's easier. And we use Perl Brew, and well, we use another stuff to run applications. And then we have workers. We have a lot of boxes with workers. We use workers for everything. We spread with workers, we store in databases with workers, we send mails with workers, and we crazy stuff with workers. We have kind of 100-something different classes, different kind of workers. So we have a lot of boxes. And how we deploy this? Well, we multiplex SSH and run Git on every box at the same time. And that's it. And we did this, well, I did this hack in the beginning. The other stuff, I didn't do it. Javi did it. But I did this horrible stuff. Most of the horrible stuff is mine. But it worked. In fact, we still use this horrible hack with a little bit more additions.
Which is the second one?
yeah, that's the nice part. This Mr. Shell, and Mr. Shell is a Perl module, well, that install a binary that will multiplex SSH sessions. So you say, we will see an example, but you say Mr. Shell in this machine, and it will connect and run whatever it comes later. But you can also say Mr. Shell a bunch of machines, and it will do the same all in parallel. Or you can say, you can have a configuration file with groups, and you say Mr. Shell, this group, this command. So this is with one line of like attached commands we deploy. We will see the command. So at this point, we were hacking a lot. We were like kind of deploying all the time without having anything in production yet, but we were deploying like 10 times a day. It worked quite good. And everything was automated. But yeah, it was automated. Now you will see what the automated looks like. This was how we deploy our application. We go into the directory where we have the deploy stuff, yeah, the rec stuff, and we ran first the first command and second the second command. Till last week, I didn't really understood why we were doing this, but well, the purpose of this talk was mainly to fix all the stuff or to understand most of the stuff and to implement some things that CES asked me to implement. So well, I was reviewing everything, and well, at the end, what happened here is the first thing will check out the code, and it will create a package with the code with the branch we provided. In this case, it's master. So it will check out the code, goes to master, and then create a gzip file. And then when the package is built, it will go in parallel to all the boxes in the group web, and it will run this command. It's kind of it's a batch where it will run several commands. And again, it needs to know which branch it is because that's part of the name of the gzip file, but it doesn't look good. It's like, why? If you already did it, well, it worked like that, and it worked. It worked. So yeah, I already done that. So then we have another application, and we have only changed this, and we can deploy our admin application. And then we have another application, and we change that. And again, the same thing. We deploy the application. We can deploy in other branch. This is completely this is an error on the slide because it should be the same. So this won't work. But well, this happens when you do this manually. So this is kind of automated, but not yet. And this is how we deploy workers. What we do with workers is, okay, Mr. Shell, the group of workforces, and first source this file because we use Perl group, then go where you have to git checkout, and then we do all this stuff instead of a git pull. And why we do this is because the format we need for the output of what changed, because we provide that output to a Perl program we wrote, says can I, that this will parse the output, and we have all our code is in one huge repository, and every module is a different Perl package, Perl class, Perl package, sorry. So it will detect what changed and what needs to be revealed because of it wasn't like this at the beginning, but the problem was it was taking like 10 minutes to deploy each application because it was rebuilding all the world at once. So well, now it's much easier, and this works, and this will deploy in whatever this means. It can nowadays it's around 40 boxes. It works. So yeah, it was good. Done and finished. No. Well, how we handle this? Because okay, now that the automation is a little bit tricky to use, we need to remember how to use the automation. So now we need to automate the automation, right? So this is the point where we decide we need a bot. Probably we read Hacker News too much, and we read about every like big name was using bots. But on the other hand, I always loved the idea of having a bot. In fact, I had an IRC bot way in the past that I used to let running at home, and it randomly talk with people and give random phrases from Bender the robot. And the amazing thing that when I came back at home, it was around like 20 years ago. When I went back to my home after work, a lot of people were trying to engage with the bot because at that time IRC was for that, no people. And I had a really nice time reading all the conversation because I have full logs of everything. So I really liked the idea of having a bot. I was thinking about it, we were talking about it for a lot of time, and one rainy Sunday, I decided to give it a try. So I started to write our bot, and it's called Bender, of course. So yeah, I'm too lazy. This should say, yes, I will deploy for you. I didn't do it. So what we need for the bot? Of course, it needs to be online. It needs to deploy our tasks, sure. It will be nice. It wasn't a must, and we know that it's much better if we have a software for monitoring. We are not trying to replace that, but we had really some crazy ideas for monitoring with the bot, and we liked the idea, and why not? Yeah, exactly. So it will be nice if it can blah blah blah, whatever. So it should be pluggable. Sure. So we don't have any line of code, but we already know we need a pluggable bot. And at that point, if someone of you knows a little bit of cpan, there is plenty of bots. In fact, there is one that's called pluggable bot or bot pluggable and several of those. But no, I wanted to write it myself. Why? Why not? Right. So I started like I start every module. I created a class. Every class inside super start with supers. Crazy idea. And we decided to use Java because of Shetalk. That I was talking about it with someone, and he asked me what the hell is Shetalk? Because now they call Hangouts, same thing, and mostly because it has push notifications, and it was free, so we didn't need it for deploy, but it will be nice for alerting. So I started my class. I use Moose, of course. I use any event because the bot has to always be online and responsive. And once you engage with any event, you need to go all the way down with any event or some kind of event loop prepared code. So, okay, I searched Stepan, I found this fantastic module, and well, I created a class where I can pass user, password. This is a flag I will explain later. It mostly says when the bot is already connected. And we have plugins, and we have the conn bar, and we store the connection, right? So what it does? Well, it creates a connection. This is almost copied from documentation, from the synopsis. We only changed like Gmail and Shetalk, and mostly this was the most important bit because at the beginning it didn't work. Because you need to say, I will use the old style SSL to connect to the legacy Java server into Gmail, into Shetalk, sorry. So, after that, Moose will run build for us. It will init plugins, whatever it is. It will init events, whatever it is. And at some point, we will have something that we will call run to start, and run will connect will connect. and it will go into the event loop, and that's it. And the rest is event loop thing. But before of that, we need to see what init plugins and events means. So events. This is full documented in the class. We say, okay, when session is ready, use this callback. When roster update, use this callback. When a message came, use this callback. And when error came, use this callback. At the end, all the callbacks are triggering things, right? We'll see later. So when ready came, it will trigger ready passing an argument that says it's ready next MPP. Why? Well, we'll see later. This is something we never use, but it's there because I copy pasted from Synopsys, probably. When a message came, okay, of course I have to trigger a message and such. Okay. So then I initialize some more events. Like this is something not related to Shower, but this is mostly related with our bot. So what this will do is tick will trigger the tick event every kind of 1 second. I say can because it depends on the loop. But well, it will trigger tick all the time. So it's like tick 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 tick. And when someone says sends a signal to the bot, I want to trigger shutdown. So the plugins can do whatever they need to do to clean up. So, and then I will call send to get out of the loop. So they need plugins. It's a little bit tricky thing. What we do is in plugins we get the names and we will namespace those and we try to load those classes. And if we can use those classes, we will create a new object of those classes and we will register. That means adding again into plugins, but at this point, I completely emptied the plugins array. So it came with strings, and after this, it will have objects for every plugin. And probably this code is why I wanted to write this, because I wanted to write this. I don't know what. I wanted to play with it. So yeah, this code will, at the end, will have all the plugins initialized. All the plugins will have a reference to the bot, so everyone can talk to the bot, and the bot can talk to the channel, whatever it is. Now it's XMPP. And trigger is really easy. Trigger is just go around all the plugins and go, and if the plugin has that method, we will call it with arguments, right? It is mostly understood till now. Yeah? No? Okay. So at this point, we have kind of all the parts of our bot. Our bot can do nothing now, right? But it can run. We can use it, right? We don't have plugins, but it will start, it will connect, and it will do nothing. And this is how we do it. We use our bot, and then we create. You say, okay, this is our user. This is my password for Gmail, and I have no plugins. Yeah. Okay, and this will connect. No one will know, but it will connect. Well, someone will, who is friend with him in Hangouts, will know. That's it. He will do nothing when you talk to it. But it worked. At this point, it worked. And it was really happy because it has to do nothing. So I wrote the first testing plugin, and I need to write also a role for it. So what I did was, okay, this is kind of a hello world plugin, and when bot is ready, it will send me a message saying go so super. And on every tick, it will print on the console tick, tick, tick. And when he gets a message, it will print out on the console. Yeah, pretty easy. But this send message, where it comes? Well, this is a method of the bot that comes from the plugin we are using there. So this role will give us access to the bot and to some methods. Yeah. So now we can have a kind of a baby vendor where we use the hello world. And yeah, at that time it was a really cute baby that does nothing. Well, he said hello world. So it was time for grow up. It was time to do something. It was time to deploy things, right? So we started writing the first plugin that was deploy with Rex. Those 3 lines that it's like into a Perl class. So what we did was, again, we use the bot plugin. We use another role that is runner, we'll see, and another that is peers that we won't see, and it's not important, mainly to translate email addresses to Slack nicknames, so we can show pictures of the people who deploy things on Slack. And we know when something is running, and we know which was the last message. This was a problem, I will tell later. And we have all the environments. This is a huge, I cannot put this into the slide. This should go into a config file, but no, it's there. And this is all the information it needs to validate that the message that you received to deploy is valid. It's a valid application on a valid environment. And at this point, it has a lot more information to decide how to call Rex, because at start I showed some Rex lines and it looked mostly like all the same, but it has some differences. It was not 100% coherent, so I need to do some tricks here. But, well, at the end, this is a beautiful code that will parse the message. It will get the body of the message. It will see if it says deploy an application, probably with a branch, and probably with an environment, some environment. And then it will add some defaults. It will see if it's running. And, nothing changed, right? It should, well, yes, it's really hard to see. Okay. So at the end, it will call Rex deploy Rex, passing all the arguments. The rest is not important. The rest is just to get the last standard error or output of the deploy, or to see who is deploying, who did the last deploy and where, and help. So deploying Rex is mainly doing what we already did with a lot of Perl call around. And at the end, what we will do is to run the command, right? So we join all the lines together with and then we run the command. And run the command is provided by the other role, the runner role. So this is, it's mainly wrapping any event util run CMD, right? It will just configure it and it will run the command asynchronously. So what it finished, it will call the callback, and yeah, it finished. It will say now it says on those days. Well, it will reply. It will reply to the original message, and it will say, "Okay, I'm finished." It can also say many things. It can say, "I'm starting doing this, then I'm in the middle of doing this, and I'm finished doing this, but now I will do another thing." So this is all all messages going back to where it came from, so to Java at that time. And also these days, after replying, it will also announce into Slack. So this notification, yes, is from any event util. This runs this shell out anything and non-blocking, yes, exactly. And this is like the simple form where you say, okay, when you finish, just tell me. But you can get line by line asynchronously. So, okay, notification were handled by another plugin. And the nice thing of this triggering thing is that it's not only that the bot will trigger events. Any plugin can trigger events because any plugin has access to the bot. So anyone can say bot trigger XXX. So once you have plugins, some other plugin can say, okay, announce this. If there is no plugins that knows how to announce, that's okay. There will be no announce. But if there is a plugin, there will. So this is nice because at the beginning we were using HipChat, now we are using Slack, but the only thing we did was replace plugin. So this is like the Slack plugin. It's really small code. It's any event HTTP. It will call the API with our credentials. And what it does, now this is removed, but it was on the first version. What it does is it will notify every time the bot is ready. This is really nice because everybody knows when I'm playing with the bot and restarting it. So yeah, got removed. But what it does, it provides this method. It provides notify. So notify will encode and it will asynchronously use the API and send the message. And at the end, if it fails, it will trigger inform op. That's something that we don't know who implement. But if someone implements how to inform operators, it will inform that something is failing. So at this point, we have a deploy bot. And we can talk with it in Java. So we can say deploy app from the branch cashback of the app to pre-pro environment. And it works. This is one message that it says in Spanish, okay, I will do it. I will tell you when I finish, and it says done. And it worked. It was pretty good. At this point, we got another plugin to deploy workers that was almost the same thing. And we got a lot of crazy plugins, mostly completely unuseful plugins. But it was fun. I mean, every night I was like there, I didn't know what to do, so I tried any stupid thing to do. And well, at the beginning I say we wanted to monitor things. Yes, we have monitoring. We know when something breaks in the low level. But I don't know, it looked really nice, and it was much easier for us to hack into a kind of Perl code to do things. It's really easy. We already have something to call asynchronous to a web, so we are into our network, so we can call internally and we can do requests, and then we can check if those requests have something we need on it. So we did it. So again, this needs to be in a configuration, but it was just there. So every time we need to add a box, we need a commit. It's horrible, but well, it was like that. And this is the guy who implemented the inform operator, because this also has hard-coded the operators. And well, it worked, and it checked if this application has this word. This is really a main category on our website, so it should be there. This doesn't check anything, but check if the deploy moved all the images where it has to go, because this was a little bit of a problem at some point. So it checks a lot of stuff every minute or every 2 minutes or something like that. Let me see. With this code, so on every tick, it will see every kind of 20 seconds. So if the last time it checked was more than 20 seconds ago, it will run everything. Yes, so it will just hit all the boxes, and if someone fails, it will tell us. And it will tell us in Hangouts that has push notifications, and it's great. It worked, and yeah, it worked. So at this point, well, we were really happy with this. We had a lot of work, real work to do. So we kind of slept on it for several years, till probably 6 months ago or something, or a year ago, where we changed a little bit, but not much. And then Seth convinced me to send this talk, mainly so I will be forced to work on it. So for the last 10 days, I was working on it, and I did kind of an evolution of it. So yeah, this is the thing I did a year ago, something like that. I think this was done by another guy, by Isma. Isma replaced. At some point, Isma started working with us, and he was used to Slack, and we were using HipChat. We were not really happy with HipChat because it was hanging all the time, but I didn't want to change because we already had the bot, and I didn't want to touch again the bot. So at some point I told him, if you write the plugin for this, I will happily move everyone to Slack. So he did it, so we have it. So what we mainly did for this was we added the Slack client. In this case, we use the Mojo Slack RTM because, well, I tried another one that was an any event thing and it failed, and this was really nice API. It works. Mojo can plug into the wheel that was running, so it was really easy. So the other thing we add was, okay, I need to init Slack also. And okay, when you get the hello event, you will trigger the ready, because this is the same as ready in XMPP. When you got a message, you trigger a message, but at this point there was a problem, and this is where I jump into it, because all our plugins, all our things were expecting to receive an XMPP object, a message object, because when we did it, we didn't expect to do this. It was just a weekend hack. So, well, what we did was what we do everything. We need to do things like that. That's we wrap what we have in something that behaves like it, or let us decide what to do with it. So we wrap it into a class that is Slack message, and we initialize it with what we get from this event, that is the Slack connection and the user. And the event, yeah. We receive the Slack connection, and we receive an object that is the event from the other class. And we do that only in if the subtype is of some type, it is different than an announce, because Slack has announcements, and we don't want to react on announcements. So yeah. This is the wrapper, and what the wrapper has is a method to reply. So when we reply, it will reply to the message it got. If it is a channel, well, it always gets a channel. If it's a user, the channel will be the user, and this will work. It knows who was the person. This is kind of mimicking what the XMPP was doing, kind of. It has a body like the other. It has a channel that wasn't present in the XMPP, but it has it, and that's it. So this was the missing part of the bot. The bot already had this send message thing, so we changed this code so it can decide, okay, what I have here. If what I have is not class, okay, I will assume it is an email address or something I can pass into XMPP, because it works like that in XMPP. You can say, I want to send a message to this email, and it will work if that email is in the roster. But if it is an XMPP class, because it can be a message that you are replying to a message, it will get the from the message, and again it will do the same as before. And if not, it will call reply on the object, because it assumes it's a Slack wrapper. And this is really important to keep in mind now. And yeah, it worked. It worked quite good. So we started to use much more this thing on Slack. And we kind of forgot that we had support for XMPP, because most of the time we use Slack. Slack also has push notifications. So most of our days were on Slack. So we use Slack for everything. Which is the problem of that? Well, the problem is the bot is connected to every public channel. So if anything that anyone says on that channel matched anything the bot knows how to do, it will do, because he don't know when someone is talking to him or not. So this was kind of a problem, but not that big, but well, it was not really nice. So I write another plugin that will kind of replace the plugin role. And this one is called command plugin. So this will pre-parse the message. It's kind of another dispatcher on top of the dispatcher. So it will parse the message, and what it will get from it is the first thing before the space, right? But he will also decide whatever the message class is, if it came from XMPP or Slack or whatever, it will decide if the message is for him, and it always will decide, it will get the first token, and it will call that a command. So what it will do, it will see if the class that is consuming this role knows how to do that command. So it checks if it has the method called cmd underscore the name of the command, right? And it will call that method, and it will simulate it's calling it on itself. It will pass the message, and it will pass arguments. Yeah, the argument is all the rest of the command that comes after the command, split by spaces. But it will only do it if the message is to him. So this fixed that problem. So now we have to rewrite every other plugin that was using plugin to use this one, but well, that was I was doing this week. And we needed faster deploys. Well, when I start looking into this, I start looking into reg stuff that I never looked before. And as I told before, I decided, like, okay, this is really weird. Why we have to call all of this? If this is made for automation, we need to know a lot to do this. So I start looking into the code. Like, it was my second time looking into reg for real. And I was kind of stuck in somewhere. And it was around 4 in the night. And I was there, and I was completely stuck, so I know Ferky. So I sent Ferky a Hangout message at 4 for something. And I say, hey, I have this problem, I explain all my problem, like, And what I was expecting was to Fergie when he got up, next day, Saturday, I think it was, something like that, to read my message and answer. So my plan was to fire and forget, right? I fire my question to Fergie and then go to sleep because my daughter will get up in 3 hours. But, well, this guy, he got up at 4:30. I don't know why. He saw my message. He started writing me. He started explaining. He started asking questions to me. And I was like, oh, fuck, I fucked it up.
Actually, I thought it will hang out for messages.
Right. I will try not to do it again.
Really good AI.
So, thanks to that guy, I was till 7 fixing all this stuff, and I almost fixed it. My daughter got up at 7:30, so it was a fantastic weekend. Yeah, sure. And now, after all this work, all I need to do is this, and this solves a lot of problems. It's not only one line. It's not only it will get only once from the deployment. It will also be much faster because it gives a clone of the repo and then it copies and then it changes branches. Well, it's much faster. But another thing it does is when it creates a package, it uses the process ID on the name of the package. So that means we can deploy the same branch several times at the same time, kind of. We are not using it, but we will. But this took before this, our deploys was around 3 minutes. Now it's 1 minute. Well, yeah, for most of our application. And this was a point where, okay, we have a lot of configuration hard-coded everywhere. So I did a role for configuration. I won't show the code, but code, what it mostly does is it's a hash in memory. It provides get and set methods, so you can set and get methods. And this is how you use. You say, okay, I will use the role config. So, and I'm using also the new CMD plugin. My config name will be memory. This is important because every it's not a bot configuration, it's a plugin configuration, right? I don't want to have a huge structure for all the bot. I want to have small structure for each plugin. So if I decide to remove a plugin, I don't need to go and edit configuration. I don't care. So what it will do is it will maintain a copy of that memory hash, of that hash on on the home directory of the user running the bot, on .ssbot directory. And this is JSON, and well, what you do with it is you set and you get. You set config, key value, and you get config key. Yeah. What the nice thing of it is, well, this is completely unnecessary. It's okay. I was playing with this code, so it will write a memory but on every tick it will write if something changed, something like that. That's why I'm not showing the code, because it's more kind of a play. It's easier to just write a JSON to this. That's it. But now we can have configurations, and everyone can use for whatever it needs. This one is just a proof of concept, so I can say command set, so I can say to the bot set URL, and then set URL, so it's super, and then I get URL and I will get. So it's really easy. It's kind of with 10 more lines we can get a factor on it. But, yeah. At this point, this is the main point of all this talk and all this rewrite. This is what happened with Seth. We love the bot, but at some point Seth told me, well, you know what? I don't want to leave my terminal. I don't want to use Slack. Fine, perfect. I don't want to use Java. That's really old stuff. I want to use a terminal. So yeah, why not? My first attempt was to load the bot is a class. So my first attempt was to load the bot into a motion application that also an event loop. And it kind of worked, but it looks dirty. And I didn't try much more on that way. So what I finally did was to use another ending event module I found on Cpan. That's called HTTPD. And imagine what it does. So again, we did the same as with Slack. We added the connection for the HTTP server. We initialized it. So this is really nice. And real code is only 3 lines, but the problem wasn't going far away on the presentation. But the nice thing here is, okay, we have slash, and slash does nothing because slash means no command. So in slash, it will say, hello, I'm the bot, and that's fine. And it will stop requests, because if not, it will go here. That is a default route, kind of default route. And we don't want to do that. If we are not here, it means we have at least one path component, right? So at this point, we have a command. Yes? So I translate the URL, like the path, into a command. I will split on bars, and I will join again on spaces. So yeah, I have the same command, but translating to URLs. So what I did was, okay, now I can trigger the message. And again, this is really strange at this point. It came from an HTTP server. So it's a message. Yeah, it's a message. So I wrap it into a HTTP message. And again, I say, okay, get the server and get the request. And this is where it looks really nice, and it's sad because I'm missing some code, but okay. What it does, well, first version wasn't like this. First version was a reply, and reply will just reply to the client. What was the problem? The problem was deploy plugin will say, okay, I will deploy before start, and it will say, okay, I'm done after the deploy. What happened when I reply in HTTP? It replies, and it closes the connection. So I cannot use the same plugin for that. And this was like, oh no, why I didn't think about it. Okay, but at the end, it was really easy to fix. We know this is an object, it can collect all the messages. So now reply will just keep responses into an array. And on demolish, it will replay. So when this object goes out of scope, before us going out of scope, it will reply to HTTP. So it works. It collects all the messages. It's not real time, but it works. Sure, I can make it better. I can do it real time, but this works, and I did it yesterday. Well, no, I did yesterday early in the morning because I wanted to show to him because he's like the main character of the talk. Yeah, it worked. It responded. I had to add another /n because he was mad because it didn't add a return at the end, so he got the shell after the response, and it was really weird in his beautiful terminal, but it works. And now we can deploy using Perl, using whatever. Any questions? No? Well, thank you.